Zohran can't make your wishes come true. You're thinking of Zoltar. Democrats must recognize that Zohran Mamdani is the future of the party. Unfortunately, it's the Republican Party. Get it? And if you missed his victory speech in last week's mayoral election in New York, don't worry. You'll see it in every attack ad for the next 2 years.
Bill Maher once again cuts through the loud political talk with honest humor that makes people on both sides uncomfortable. In this video, we explain why his recent criticism of woke ideas and public figures like Zohran Mamdani feels stronger and more direct than any polished message political groups try to create.
Gen Z thinks socialism's wired and capitalism's tired and billionaires are what's for dinner. And who can blame them? If you're 30 and still sharing a bathroom with roommates, capitalism isn't working for you. People will reject any economic system where there's strange hair on the soap. It turned one of Latin America's richest countries into one of its poorest. Low wages, high inflation, shortages, outages, 8 million people fleeing. If you think New York can somehow reinvent this wheel, you're in for a rude awakening. Zohran can't make your wishes come true. You're thinking of Zoltar.
Zohran can't magically solve problems, just like democratic socialism can't turn big promises into real results. Both sound impressive at first, but once you look closer, the details stop matching the dream. Politicians who promote perfect worlds during rallies create exciting headlines, yet their ideas usually fall apart when reality shows up. If Mamdani's victory speech already sounds like material for an attack ad, it's a sign voters notice the warning signs. The whole woke fantasy always breaks down when it meets real budgets, real services, and the simple math cities must follow.
Democrats must recognize that Zohran Mamdani is the future of the party. Unfortunately, it's the Republican Party. Get it? And if you missed his victory speech in last week's mayoral election in New York, don't worry. You'll see it in every attack ad for the next 2 years. Mamdani seems like a nice guy, and I congratulate him on an extraordinary political achievement. But before the whole left side of the country catches socialism fever, let's listen to the other big winner in last Tuesday's election, Virginia Governor-elect Abigail Spanberger, who, before the '24 election, said things like, if the party didn't shift to the center, we will get torn apart. And we need to never use the word socialist or socialism ever again.
Zohran Mamdani is being promoted as the party's next big voice, yet he keeps giving statements that sound perfect for Republican attack ads. It's like Democrats are exposing their own weak spots and then acting shocked when opponents use them. When your victory speech feels more like a late-night rant than a plan, you're practically delivering the other side their campaign material. This kind of dramatic activism doesn't motivate swing districts, it pushes them away. Maher's main point remains true: moderates win in Trump-leaning areas because they talk to people who can still be convinced, not just loyal supporters. That's the strategy that actually wins elections.
At least the party has a clear choice here, very clear. One wing is saying don't ever use the word socialist again, and one is saying,
I am a democratic socialist!
Clear, huh? So how do we decide who's right? Well, it turns out we don't really have to flip a coin. We have the evidence. In 2024, 13 Democrats won. In districts, Trump also won. All moderates. This isn't rocket science. All the left-leaning think tanks have done autopsies on 2024, and they all came up with the same message: move to the center.
Maher's point is straightforward. Those 13 Democrats didn't win in Trump-leaning districts by luck, they succeeded because they chose practical, moderate positions instead of dramatic ideological shows. Their wins came from focusing on everyday concerns, not purity tests or loud activist rhetoric. Until candidates address real problems people face, instead of lecturing about theory while voters cope with basic daily frustrations, the center will continue moving forward without them.
If you're 30 and still sharing a bathroom with roommates, capitalism isn't working for you. People will reject any economic system where there's strange hair on the soap.
Capitalism has problems, but it usually provides the basic comfort and privacy people hope for. When daily life becomes stressful or unpleasant, voters don't turn to complicated theories, they look for systems that offer clean towels, personal space, and consistent results. That's why Poland's market reform succeeded while Venezuela's newer version of socialism collapsed. People prefer stability over promises that never show up in real life. Any system that wants long-term support should begin by guaranteeing that no one has to share shampoo or lack simple personal dignity.
In 1990, Venezuela was wealthier than Poland. But then Poland, finally free of Soviet-style economics, went all in on capitalism. And now their economy is as big as Japan. And people there have high wages, low inflation, cars, vacations, homes. Meanwhile, Venezuela traded capitalism for Hugo Chavez's socialism for the 21st century, which turned out to be like socialism in the last century, or any century, a f***ing mess.
Poland and Venezuela show the difference clearly. When a country builds strong institutions, supports open markets, and respects the rule of law, it usually gains stability. But when leaders push a dreamy version of government control, the system slowly breaks down. Socialism for the 21st century sounds impressive, yet it collapses once real-world demands appear, much like an overly edited dating profile that doesn't match reality. And when single-payer trials fail before they can expand to a nation of 340 million, voters don't remember the promises. They remember delays, shortages, and why reading the fine print matters.
Democratic socialism is like a dating profile. Things look great until you meet up in the real world. For example, Bernie Sanders, his big thing was always bringing single-payer health care to our country of 340 million. But when liberal, tie-dyed Vermont tried to do it for a population of 626,000, it collapsed like that poor in the Oval Office last week.
Democratic socialism looks wonderful in polished campaign photos, full of grand promises and hopeful energy, until you take a closer look and discover the heat doesn't work. That's what happened when Vermont's single-payer project ran straight into basic arithmetic. Bernie's national plan may sound inspiring, but ignoring real costs is just political catfishing, even when the intentions are sincere. And while Bernie, AOC, and Mamdani proudly claim the Democratic Socialist label, voters usually prefer the steady, practical middle ground. They respond to ideas supported by real budgets, detailed plans, and proposals that can actually hold up when tested in the real world.
Bernie, AOC, Mamdani are not Democrats. They'll be the first to tell you that. They're Democratic Socialists, and that's a very different thing, and I don't think people know that yet. I don't think people realize we already have a lot of socialism.
Bernie, AOC, and Zohran Mamdani can embrace the Democratic Socialist title, but swing voters already deal with plenty of government in their daily routines and still prefer steady, predictable leadership over dramatic branding. When you offer a revolution instead of a sensible fix, you're giving people a loyalty test they never wanted, especially when they're exhausted by both MAGA drama and exaggerated left-wing ideas. Call yourself anything you like, but elections are won by sounding realistic, not theatrical.
You think you're going to win an election on that? This just seems like more extremism at a time when Americans are begging both parties, please, could just one of you act normal? It's either defund the police or military in the streets. Either MAGA's crypto crony capitalism or city-run grocery stores. No, I don't want that. I want a Democrat who reassures me if you like your Whole Foods, you can keep your Whole Foods.
Extreme ideas on either side may sound entertaining in jokes, but they make awful leadership. When you tell suburban families their choices are armed patrols or government-run supermarkets, you're guaranteed to push them away. Most people want steady, competent leadership, not a dramatic revolution or another chaotic rerun. And when Mamdani and the far left deliver lifestyle slogans instead of real solutions, moderates stop listening. If your pitch can't convince voters they'll keep their grocery options, their income, and their everyday stability, you've already lost their attention. Winning is about keeping people in the room, not driving them out.
You know, Chuck Schumer ain't perfect, but at least he doesn't crumple into a heap when confronted with Chanel No. 5.
Bill Maher's point lands because he cuts through the fantasy and highlights how figures like Zohran Mamdani rely on political performance instead of the practical leadership that actually wins in Trump-leaning areas. Time after time, it's moderates, not dramatic activists, who succeed, because people prefer stability over purity tests. Whether you look at basic economics or examples like Venezuela, the pattern is clear. Democratic socialist promises fall apart when they meet real budgets, real institutions, and everyday needs like safety and reliable stores. The progressive left may deliver impressive speeches, but voters want steady leadership, not idealistic sales pitches.